Good morning. We're jumping in the semi this morning, headed down to Newburgh, Indiana to go to ADM and haul a load of soybeans off. I think this afternoon I'm going to try and cut some of my own, but we'll see. I'm at least going to test the waters, nose the combine in the field, and see what they're doing. So those beans definitely aren't ready yet, but those beans over there look pretty close, so I think that's where we're going to head to today. Alright, so we've made it down to the elevator, and thankfully it looks like there's hardly any line at all, which is kind of surprising. Yeah, there is one truck in front of me, so I'll take that. I'm kind of surprised that there's no line at all. Must not be as many guys rolling as I thought. That or everybody's filling their own grain bins right now. But I'm gonna haul about 5 loads down here of my own. I've got a September contract that I wish I wouldn't have made, because now beans are like $1 higher than what they were, but it is what it is. Hindsight's always 20/20. Get out and untarp it. Okay, so we are dumped. Had 890 bushel on, about a perfect load, 13.2% moisture, so I'm gonna grab some fuel and head home. Had to stop and get some fuel. Just about ran dry. This one will be expensive. Looks like Hopes is here. They're doing some work on the combine real quick. Trying to get some calibrations done. Having some issues with my moisture sensor, and when the moisture sensor's off, everything's off, so hopefully they can get that lined out. Well, we're moving up the road. Pull a head cart up there, and I gotta run to the dealership and grab a couple hydraulic hoses. It shouldn't take too long. They'll be easy to throw back on, and bring the pickup home. Grab the combine, run it up there. Buddy's bringing the grain cart. Somewhere or another, I'd like to end up with a pickup up there so we can bring the semi up later too. Probably not going to cut but a couple semi loads today, but if we can just get up there and get started, I'll be happy. Should be able to knock the rest out that's ready tomorrow pretty easily. Well, this is one of them deals where you hate to run beans over, but really didn't have a choice. So we're gonna unhook the head cart. Maybe. Pins in there good. Unhook the head cart here. And I mean, it's in the beans, but there's not really anywhere else I can get off the highway and unhook it. So kind of a necessary evil, but these definitely look like they've dried up quite a bit from a couple days ago. All right, so we're headed to the field. Cart's right behind me. Got a little bit of a convoy going, and the mechanic from Hopes is behind us. Mechanic from Hopes is behind us as well. He's gonna help get this thing 100% calibrated where it's mapping to make me yield maps. First cart's full, combine's full, the semi's about to be full. Teaching the new guy how to farm today. Yeah, those are pretty good beans. 13%, 90 bushel. My average is running a little bit low right now because I cut all the end rows and they were pretty crappy, but if that's what the middle of the field's gonna make, I think I'm gonna be pretty happy with these. All right, so I filled the semi with a fairly legal load, and he's gonna follow me back to this back field back here. This is only about 10 acres here, and I've already filled the semi. So that was reading a little bit off. I mean, I've cut 10 acres there, you can see, but I don't think that was reading quite right. But when we were calibrating it, it was reading quite a bit under what they actually were. So that 68 average isn't quite right. They're making about 60 down here and making about 100 up on this high side of the field. This whole field slopes down, and this is a creek bottom down in here which floods. You can kind of see a green tint right about here, and that's kind of where that creek bottom starts. But these are really, really, really good beans, and hopefully they keep yielding like this. Because if this is the case, this is some of the lower ground right here. The rest of this farm is mostly hillsides, so hopefully it will yield, you know, up in high 70s, low 80s is kind of what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I'll take these yields all day long. 99, 97, 98, 103. You get up out of the creek bottoms up here on the hillside, and these are really good beans. And these are the end rows where we carted a bunch of corn out last year, and there's probably some compaction. So if they can make 90 in compaction, they ought to be really good out there. Well, down here it's kind of a mess. They're green and knotted up and wadded up and tangled, and the weeds are bad because there's a deep creek there. Across the creek it doesn't look terrible. Looks better than this side, but I sprayed across the creek on second pass. I think that made quite a bit of a difference, but apparently I should have done it over here too. But cart's getting ready to pull up. I'm gonna grab a sample just to make sure that's right. These beans down here have kind of tapered off, which I figured they would because they're down in the bottom, but up on that side of the field, they're gonna be pretty good. That's a little bit better. They're a whole lot cleaner up in this end of the field. It's just hard to control weeds when they go underwater all the time. It really messes with a herbicide and just deposits weed seed out all the time. So up on this end of the field, I mean, it's still not spotless, but it's definitely a lot cleaner. And they're not going in the tank, so that's a plus, but pretty good beans up through here. I mean, 70 bushel I'm happy with, and it's hanging right there in the 90s for instant, but field average being 70. Pretty happy with that. Just about got this little section knocked out. The cart's full, the combine's full, or the cart and the semi are full. The combine's getting real close. I dumped, I don't know, 50 bushel on the cart, just really, really getting it full, but he thinks he can tarp it still, but I don't. It's really, really heaped up there. Some auger's still out too. Well, for cutting this little bit here, the semi's full, the cart's full, and the combine's full. So for no more than what I cut here, that's not too bad. Everything's full. And well, he's a better cart driver than he is a best man speech giver. He kind of butchered that one.